On Tuesday, January 12th, 2016, just after 7 p.m., Patrol Officer Eric Christian and Senior Patrol Officer Severin Stallmark were dispatched to respond to a report of a disturbance between a male and a female at a residence located in the 600 block of West 32nd Avenue. When they arrived on scene, one of the officers observed an adult male standing in an open doorway at the residence. As the officers approached, the male retreated inside the home and left the door open. Officers stopped outside the entryway. There, they could observe the male standing inside the residence near a bedroom doorway, armed with a large butcher knife. Officers could also hear a female from a bedroom who was screaming from the room. Officers made verbal commands to the male, asking him to drop the knife. The male refused to comply with officers' commands and charged the officers while wielding the knife. When the armed male was within a few feet of the officers discharged their weapons and fired 2 shots each. The officers reported to dispatch that the shots had been fired. The officers then entered the residence and made contact with the female that was located in the bedroom. The female was not injured. While those officers were checking on the female, other officers had arrived on scene and started performing life-saving measures on the male who had been shot. Medics responded to the scene and pronounced the male deceased. The male was identified as 49-year-old Herman Bean, Jr. His next of kin have been notified. Alcohol is believed to have been a factor in the incident. It was reported to police that Bean had been consuming alcohol earlier in the evening. APD's homicide unit, in addition to the crime scene team, responded to investigate the shooting. As with all officer-involved shootings, these cases will be reviewed by the State Office of Special Prosecution. The Office of Special Prosecution will determine if the use of force was justified. An internal affairs investigation will also be conducted to determine if the officer's actions were within policy. Following the incident, the officers were placed on administrative leave. Patrol Officer Eric Christian has been with the Anchorage Police Department for 4 years and has prior law enforcement experience. Senior Patrol Officer Severin Stallmark has been an officer with the Anchorage Police Department for 8 years. Be more than happy to answer a few questions now.
Do we know anything in terms of the timeline of the investigation? Because they are on leave until the investigation concludes, right? So do you have any information on as to how long that might last?
Our policy that they'll stay on administrative leave for 4 days, and then depending on what their days and shifts are, should be returned to duty at that time.
So they could return to duty as soon as tomorrow if they're scheduled for a shift?
That's correct.
Have either officers ever been involved in an officer-involved shooting before?
Not that I'm aware of.
Have you had any contact with the 2 officers, and if so, their thoughts, how they're doing?
Yes, they seem to be doing well, and no one in the department wants a situation to turn out like this, but they seem to be doing well.
Who called 911?
The female inside the apartment. Take one more question? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Spellings of those last names.